Welcome to Healthy Facts 101. Today we're diving into 8 early signs of autism in babies, so you can spot them early and help your little one thrive. First up, let's talk about eye contact, one of the earliest and most important ways babies connect with the world around them. From the very beginning, babies are naturally drawn to faces. They love looking at their parents, siblings, and caregivers. This isn't just adorable. It's how they start to bond, learn, and understand emotions. When a baby locks eyes with you, it's their way of saying, "I see you, and I'm interested in you." But if you notice that your baby consistently avoids making eye contact, seems more fascinated by objects like ceiling fans or lights, or regularly looks away when you try to catch their gaze, it's something to pay attention to. This isn't just a fleeting moment. Look for a pattern over days or weeks. Avoiding eye contact isn't about being shy or reserved. It's actually a key part of early social development. Babies learn so much from watching faces, how to smile, how to respond, and how to communicate even before they can talk. When a baby shares a gaze with you, it's the very beginning of communication. It's how they start to understand the give and take of social interaction. Without this shared gaze, it becomes much harder for babies to pick up on social cues, like facial expressions and emotions. They might miss out on important learning opportunities that come from watching and mimicking others. If your baby rarely looks you in the eye, especially during meaningful moments like feeding, cuddling, or playtime, it's worth noting. These are times when most babies naturally seek out connection. Remember, what matters most is the pattern, not just a single moment. Babies can be tired, hungry, or distracted, and that's completely normal. But if you're seeing a consistent lack of eye contact over time, it's something to keep track of. Babies are naturally curious and can get distracted by their surroundings. But if you notice that your baby almost always avoids looking at people's faces, it could be an early sign of a developmental difference. Don't panic. Early awareness is key, and it simply means you can support your child in the best way possible. If you notice this pattern, jot down your observations and bring them up with your pediatrician. They can help you figure out what's typical and what might need a closer look. Let's move on to the next sign to watch for in your baby's development. Next, let's talk about responding to their name. By 6 to 10 months, most babies react when you call them. If your baby doesn't turn, pause, or show recognition when you say their name, especially by 9 to 12 months, it's a flag. This isn't about stubbornness or distraction. Sometimes it's mistaken for a hearing issue, so always check hearing first. But if hearing is fine and your baby still doesn't respond, it could signal a delay in social understanding. Try calling their name in different settings: quiet, playful, or calm. If there's still no consistent response, it's worth discussing with your doctor. It's not about one missed response, but a pattern over time. Early recognition helps guide next steps. Keep this in mind as we move forward. Let's talk about communication. Let's talk about babbling. Those adorable early sounds that babies make as they begin to explore their voices and the world around them. Babbling is more than just cute noises. It's actually a crucial milestone in your baby's development. Most babies start cooing and babbling by 6 to 9 months of age. These early sounds are the building blocks for future speech and language skills. You might notice your baby experimenting with different pitches, tones, and even trying to mimic the sounds they hear from you and others. Babbling is their way of practicing speech and connecting with you. It's how they learn to take turns in conversation, even before they know any real words. When you respond to their babbles, you're encouraging them to keep going and helping their brain grow. If your baby is unusually quiet, doesn't babble by 12 months, or doesn't have single words by 16 months, it's a red flag. Every child develops at their own pace, but these milestones are important markers to watch for. It's not just about making noise. It's about trying to communicate. Babies use their voices to get your attention, express their needs, and share excitement or frustration. Babies usually enjoy back and forth conversations with sounds. This playful exchange is a sign that your baby is learning the basics of communication, like listening, responding, and waiting for their turn. If your baby isn't making a variety of sounds or doesn't seem interested in vocal play, take note. A lack of interest in vocalizing or interacting with sounds can sometimes be an early sign of a language delay or hearing issue. This could signal a difference in how their brain is developing language. It's important to observe not just how much your baby is vocalizing, but also how they use their sounds to interact with you and their environment. Listen for intent to communicate, not just random noises. Are they trying to get your attention, copy your words, or express a need? These are all positive signs. If you're concerned, bring it up with your pediatrician. Don't hesitate to ask questions or share your observations, even if you're unsure. Early support can make a big difference. The sooner you seek guidance, the more help your child can receive if they need it. Let's look at another way babies communicate: gestures. Even before they speak, babies use their hands and body language to share what they want or how they feel. On to the next sign. Understanding all the ways your baby communicates helps you support their growth every step of the way. Gestures are a baby's first language: waving, pointing, clapping, reaching up to be picked up. By 9 to 12 months, most babies use gestures to share experiences and get your attention. If your baby doesn't point to show you things, wave bye-bye, or reach up to be held, it's a sign to watch. Sometimes they might guide your hand to an object instead of pointing. A lack of gestures means they may not be trying to connect non-verbally. Gestures are about sharing and engaging with others. If your baby isn't using these simple movements by 12 to 14 months, it's important to note. Watch for imitation. Do they copy your gestures? If not, mention it to your doctor. These early signs help build a bigger picture. Let's move on to repetitive movements. Here's what to look for. Repetitive movements like hand flapping, rocking, or spinning are called stimming. All babies repeat actions, but in autism, these movements are more frequent and intense. It's not just soothing, it's a way to manage overwhelming sensations. Watch for patterns. Does your baby rock, flap, or spin for long periods, especially when excited or stressed? They might also repeat actions with objects, like spinning wheels instead of playing with the whole toy. These behaviors aren't bad. They're a form of communication and self-regulation. Notice when and why these movements happen. If they're frequent and intense, it's worth mentioning to your pediatrician. Understanding these signs helps you support your child's needs. Next, let's talk about sensory reactions. Here's what to notice. Moving on. Sensory responses can be big clues. Some babies are extremely sensitive to sounds, lights, textures, or touch, melting down at loud noises or hating certain clothes. Others seem undersensitive, barely reacting to pain, craving intense sensations, or not noticing loud sounds. These reactions go beyond typical baby quirks. Oversensitivity might look like distress at everyday sensations. Undersensitivity could mean seeking out strong input or not responding to their name. Watch how your baby reacts to the world. Do they seem overwhelmed or oblivious? Extreme reactions either way are common in autism. These sensory differences can show up very early. If you notice unusual patterns, write them down. Share your observations with your doctor. Let's talk about social play next. Social games like peekaboo and patty cake teach babies about connection and turn-taking. Most babies love these games by 6 to 9 months. They laugh, anticipate, and even try to start the game themselves. If your baby doesn't seem interested, doesn't react, or doesn't try to join in, it's a sign to watch. They might prefer playing alone or show little excitement for shared activities. It's not about ability, it's about motivation to connect. If your baby consistently ignores these games, it could signal a difference in social development. This can be tough for parents, but it's important information. Look for patterns over time, not just one day. If you're concerned, talk to your pediatrician. Early support can help build social skills. Now let's discuss routines and change. Here's what to notice. Babies and toddlers thrive on routines. These daily patterns help them feel safe and secure, providing a sense of predictability in a world that can often seem overwhelming. For many young children, knowing what comes next is comforting. But for some, especially those on the autism spectrum, even the smallest change in routine can be incredibly challenging and stressful. For children on the autism spectrum, changes, no matter how minor, can trigger intense distress. Something as simple as a different breakfast food or a new route to daycare can feel like a major disruption. It's not just a preference for sameness. When routines are disrupted, it can feel like a crisis for these children. Their world suddenly feels unpredictable, and that can be very frightening. You might notice meltdowns if you change the route to the park, switch up bedtime rituals, or even rearrange furniture. These reactions aren't tantrums, they're signs of genuine distress. Many children with autism develop rituals to create order. They may insist on lining up toys in a certain way, eating only specific foods, or following the same steps every day. Repetitive behaviors, like watching the same video over and over, can be soothing. These routines help them manage anxiety and make sense of their environment. This need for sameness and order isn't about being stubborn or difficult. It's a way for children to create predictability and control in a world that often feels confusing and overwhelming. These coping strategies are their way of handling stress. When routines are followed, they feel calm and secure. When routines are disrupted, their anxiety can spike. If your child is extremely resistant to change and gets very upset by even small disruptions, it's important to pay attention. This isn't just a phase or a quirk, it could be a sign of something more. Insistence on sameness is one of the core signs of autism. Children may become very upset if their routines aren't followed exactly, or if something unexpected happens. Watch for patterns in your child's behavior. Notice how intense their reactions are, and how often they occur. Keeping track can help you understand what your child is experiencing. If these behaviors are affecting your child's daily life or your family's routines, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor or a pediatrician. Early support can make a big difference. Understanding your child's need for routine is the first step in helping them cope. With patience and support, you can help your child feel more comfortable and secure. Remember, you're not alone. There are resources and strategies to help your family. Let's wrap up with what to do next. These 8 signs aren't a diagnosis. They're a guide to help you observe your child. Early intervention is key. The sooner you get support, the better the outcomes. If you notice several of these signs, don't panic. Just talk to your pediatrician. Write down what you've seen and be specific. Trust your instincts. You know your child best. A good doctor will help you find the right resources. Thank you for watching Healthy Facts 101. If this helped, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment to support each other. See you next time.